We easily commit to each other when we first commit to God. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. My name is Chris Bailey, and this is it, part number 5 of our 5-part series, Living in the Land. This study has one word as a title, commitment. And that word commitment is powerful. It is the fabric that sews together not just a family, it sews together a community, it sews together our church, it even can sew together a country. And so knowing that to find that fabric, right, when you're looking at a piece of a garment, that little thread, that string is so small, but without that small string, the whole picture falls apart. I'm grateful that that seam and that thread is very simply finding God's will, making a decision to follow it. But before we unwrap this, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you watched all 5 of this series and it's been a blessing to you. If it has been, please hit the like button on this study. Subscribe to the channel so we can stay in touch. And remember, we like to be where you are. We are on the road here in Jackson, Mississippi, just before sunset, but we need you. We need you to have a sunrise where your group is, where your school is. And to get that started, all you need to do is send us an email address. And to get that started, all you need to do is send us an email. And that email is contact@changeministry.org. We've been looking at the 12 tribes in the book of Joshua, 9.5 verses 2.5. There was a problem in the promised land, but things like communication, things like listening, the simple act of moving out because God has called you to move. These are all elements that led to there being peace. But now we look at another gift and another promise that comes from this scenario, and that's a commitment. In Joshua chapter 22, verse 1, it says, Joshua called the Reubenites and the Gadites, half the tribe of Manasseh, and said to them, you've kept all those things that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and have obeyed my voice in all that I commanded you. Now, this is cool because Israel's actually getting a commendation. They're getting a like from their leader and also from the Lord to say, you all have made a commitment to follow God. And that's great. One of the benefits of having a real walk with God is that it's going to have a real impact on those whom we walk with. In other words, we cannot be so heavenly minded that we're no earthly good. There's no way that I can say I'm in connection with God, but I can't even be cool or even be Christ-like to my brother. So when you read on, it says in verse 3, you have not left your brethren. In the commendation in verse 1, because of your commitment to God, you have not left your brethren these many days unto this day, but have kept the charge of the commandment of the Lord your God. So there is a relationship. There's a symbiosis between how we treat people and how or whether or not we worship God. You can't separate the two. And so Joshua is going back and forth. He's giving them a double high five. Because you're walking with God, you've been working with your brothers. And because you've been working with your brethren and your sisters, you're able to have a real connection to your maker. So now with this in mind, one more verse. In Joshua chapter 22, verse 5, here is where he says, but take diligent heed to do the commandment of the law. So now what's the secret to keeping this going? He says in verse 5, take diligent heed to do the commandment and the law, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, charged you to love the Lord your God and to walk in all his ways and to keep his commandments and to cleave unto him and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. This is why you get to verse 6 where it says, so Joshua blessed them and sent them away and they went into their tents. God was able to bless them, the people and their interactions, because of what all that was in verse 5, their commitment and their fidelity to him. You cannot stay committed to a husband, a wife, a child, or a parent, a job, or a coworker completely and fully as God intends you to, without being committed to him. The secret to every great relationship really is good religion. Being committed to the one who loves you is the only way that you can really pour out that love to somebody else. I'm not saying you can't give that eros love. I'm not saying you can't give that phileo love, that lowercase love. That is what we can do as human beings. But agape love, capital L, agape, even though agape is a Greek word that starts with A, but I think y'all get the point. Agape love, you only get that from one store, from one storehouse. It's the storehouse of God. It's the storehouse of his grace. And if you ever doubt how much he has to give to you in order to give to someone else, remember, God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten son. And that portion and the power that God gives to us, it's not a drip, it's not a river, It's an ocean of grace that allows us to tap into and to get from in order to pour out on a world that is desperately in need. But sometimes it's not the world that's in need. It might just be somebody in your house, somebody in your family. Yes, and God can give you enough grace to give to them.